Alright guys, what is going on? This is the Club of the Man 1993 here, coming at you for the 12th video of this retro recap and review series for all the 30 Royal Rumble matches that have happened so far in the WWE history. We're still, of course, in the WWF era, though, as we round out the end of the 20th century here, as we get to the 1999 Royal Rumble match. Now, this Royal Rumble match, here's the thing. Around this time, as I mentioned back in 1998, is when the WWE first started heating up big time again. Well, the World Wrestling Federation, the talent was coming in. They were starting to outdo WCW and ECW in ratings as well. One of the biggest reasons was because of the popularity of Stone Cold Steve Austin. And they went out and they got involved in one of the biggest feuds we've ever had in wrestling history. And it's the feud between Stone Cold Steve Austin and Vince McMahon. Now, also, one of the writers at the time was Vince Russo, who had some good ideas, but some of these ideas are kind of crazy as well. So they were pretty much all hit and miss. And that pretty much sums up what happened in the 1999 Royal Rumble. It had a good setting. It had potential to be a pretty good Royal Rumble. Unfortunately, though, with the other star talent not being used too well in this Rumble match, it was a little bit all over the place. I had the same feeling about this coming out of this Royal Rumble as I did coming out of the main event of TLC in 2017, the 5-on-3 match between Rollins, Ambrose, and Angle against Miz, Cesaro, and Sheamus, Strowman, and Kane. I had the same feeling. It's like this could have been good, but it was kind of all over the place, in my opinion. Henceforth, the reason why I gave it the grade that I gave it. But they tried at least. You had some good things still happen in this Royal Rumble match, but a lot of it didn't really lead to anything. And the next night on Raw, Vince made himself look very stupid. And he got caught off guard big time because of the commissioner, who was Shawn Michaels at the time, since this was during the time where Shawn Michaels had been injured with his back injury, so he did not return until his first match back was at SummerSlam in 2002. So, Shawn Michaels is not an active wrestler right now. But we had, The Rock and Mick Foley in a feud for the championship. They had the I Quit match earlier tonight. They had Triple H and DX were, on the rise as well. And this is a year, despite, again, it being like a back and forth year, like good, but not like great year for like everything in the WWF. This is the year I think Triple H really, the turn happened for Triple H that really started to get him in the direction of his career and lead him to eventually be the cerebral assassin, the game, the man he is today, pretty much. So let's get into this Royal Rumble match. It took place on January 24th, 1999 at the Arrowhead Pond in Anaheim, California. Called Wrestlemanias were held there. Of course, stipulation is always the winner gets a championship match at Wrestlemania, but also this year, Vince McMahon added a stipulation as he did one Stone Cold Steve Austin, winning the Rumble for the third year in a row. So whoever eliminated Austin would receive $100,000. So that was an award right there. Now, Vince, though, because again, at this time is when he started up his alliance called the Corporation, which is who he felt should be where they need to be. And The Rock became champion this night also. So the winner of this Royal Rumble will be facing The Rock at WrestleMania 15. So first, we had McMahon, who drew Stone Cold Steve Austin, and then we had a qualifiers battle royal for the number 30 spot, but Commissioner Shawn Michaels still put Mr. McMahon in at number 2 to teach him a lesson. The winner of that battle royal, who got number 30, well, we'll find out later on in this video. So it was Stone Cold Steve Austin and Mr. McMahon starting off. Of course, McMahon comes out looking like ripped as heck, who apparently had never been in a match before until this match happened tonight. But he came out looking so ripped. This is the night also where, the song No Chance in Hell, because there was no chance in hell that Vince McMahon was going to have Stone Cold Steve Austin win his Rumble, but that would eventually become Mr. McMahon's own theme song, No Chance in Hell. So, not just a corporation as it was for the time being. So, Austin was in there just beating down on Mr. McMahon, giving him his comeuppance after everything that they had been through. And then number 3, formerly known as Earthquake, was Golga. He came in, but Austin easily eliminated him. But while this happened, Vince McMahon escaped, like rolling out of the bottom rope of the Royal Rumble, got into the crowd. So Austin chased after him to the crowd and started beating down on Vince McMahon. But Vince would eventually lure him into, like, the concessions area, into the ladies' bathroom. I'm like, why are they going to the women's bathroom? Like, I know, like, around the time, they're still in, like, the era of the TV-14 era where, only the women's wrestlers were there just to, show off their bodies and whatnot, which is why, like, last year we had Mark Miro coming out with Sable, because around the time, who didn't think Sable was insanely hot around that time. And then we had a few others this Royal Rumble as well, which we'll talk about them in a little bit. I'll be sure to mention them. But we had Vince lure Stone Cold into the ladies' bathroom, and unfortunately, it was because the corporation was in there ready to beat him down. It was a trap. So, but while this was going on, the match was continuing down the arena, but they kept cutting away from the ring to like constant shots of, like, Austin in the bathroom just getting beat down and getting taken in the ambulance. So it kind of took you out of the match a little bit. So it didn't feel like it was more so about the Royal Rumble match. It's more so about the feud between Vince and Stone Cold, which, I mean, the feud was great, which is why I gave this Rumble a grade a little bit higher. But for the Rumble match itself, it wasn't really one of the best booked, really. Um, but number 4 was Droz, who literally had nothing to do until number 5 came out, who was Edge, who didn't have too bad of a Rumble debut, I'd say Edge. Number 6 was Gilbert, the guy who is, pretty much the parody of Goldberg, comes out and he says, like, fancying himself to the crowd, and then Edge dumps him out immediately. Number 7 was Steve Blackman, followed by Dan Severn at number 8. Tiger on saying at number 9. The Blue Media number 10. See, who are most of these guys? I don't know too many of these guys. Some of them I do, some of them I do not. Now, number 11, it was supposed to be Headbanger Mosh, but they show backstage, so after this music hit, you see Mabel has been laid out a Headbanger Mosh. So he makes his way out into the arena. Mabel, he goes down, and he just starts wrecking havoc at first. He eliminates Severn. He then eliminates Blackman. Then he eliminates Singh. And then he eliminates Droz. So for a time being, it was just him and Edge. And then out came Road Dogg at number 12. He would then eliminate Edge. And then Road Dogg and Mabel start brawling each other. Then the lights go out, and I'm like, what's going on here? And the Undertaker's music hits. And then the lights are still out, and all of a sudden the lights come back on, and then Mabel is outside the ring as the acolytes of Farouk and Bradshaw and Midian were the ones who eliminated Mabel from the match, and they start beating him down. Well, they somewhat beat him down, but he's more so trying to escorting him up the ramp to the Undertaker, who's standing there, and he whispered something into the ear of Mabel, and then they start beating down on him again, but Undertaker just watched. So they're luring Mabel into the back, which I'll explain in a little bit, like what this led to, even though it wasn't really anything good at all, really. Then we had Gangrel come in at number 13, and then Road Dogg eliminated him. Number 14 was Kurgan, who a year before he was just a big, tall-looking heel. Now he's just a goofy baby face, as they do to all, like, big, terrible gimmick. Big guys have terrible gimmicks. Number 15 was Al Snow, who Road Dogg would then eliminate him not long after he got into the match. Number 16 was Goldust, back to normal after last year being known as the artist formerly known as Goldust, with some weird, design he had on. Now, number 17 was the Godfather. One person, of course, came out with a bunch of ladies and whatnot. But I didn't realize this too, but Godfather was also Papa Shango and Kama from past Royal Rumbles as well. So he comes out, and out comes number 18 was Kane, who appeared in the Rumble last year as Fake Diesel, and he was also Isaac Yankem, the dentist, from the 1995 Royal Rumble. He came out at number 18. I'm sorry, that was a 96 Rumble, I think it was. Yeah, 96. Last year, it was Fake Diesel. Whatever that one was. Anyways, but Kane just comes out, and he had just recently been on the verge of a face turn since he refused to join the corporation. So he just went out there and just, went nuts, eliminating Road Dogg, then Kerrigan, then the Godfather, and Goldust. So then the white guys in white coats were sent to the ring to try to get Kane out, but Kane got them out, and he chased after them by eliminating himself and running away. And this was strange because all it led to was just a match between Triple H and and Kane at WrestleMania wasn't really that good. It was whenever China turned on Triple H to join the corporation, but then China Kane would come out though later to save Triple H at the match, and then later on in the match it was later on at WrestleMania 15 we learned it would lead to, despite the fact that this was a turn that was good for his career, it would lead to Triple H turning heel, and joining the corporation with China. So it was still, he turned on X-Pac in the European title match with X-Pac and Shane McMahon. So again, it was just a weird, wonky looking story. Yeah, that was Kane in the Rumble. The first time he was in the Rumble as Kane, actually, again. Number 19 was Ken Shamrock. And during this time, Vince had returned to the ring. And since Shamrock, he was part of the corporation, Vince just goes back to commentary. But he has, like, his black sweats on. He's all cleaned up, just sitting down. He's just saying how, Stone Cold will not be coming back. He's gone for good. And then number 20 was Billy Gunn, who came out limping and without a shoe on because he had wrestled in an Intercontinental title match against Shamrock earlier, and Shamrock had injured him, so he was coming out to first get his revenge on him. Number 21 was Tess, but again, while this is going on, the camera cuts away again, and this time it's showing Mabel getting put into the hearse backstage, which this would lead to the following night on Raw. He would be introduced as Viscera, as he had been initiated into Undertaker's Ministry of Darkness, which that did nothing except leading Undertaker to a terrible Hell in a Cell match against the Big Boss Man at WrestleMania 15. And then it ended with the Ministry of Darkness just hanging Big Boss Man. Way they just cut away from that. It's like, oh, you literally just hung somebody, but you're just gonna cut away like it's no big deal. Like, I didn't really like that when I watched WrestleMania 15. But yeah, that's what it led for Mabel. Nothing really that special at all. Speaking of Big Boss Man, he enters at number 22. And then but then also, while I forgot to mention this, while Mabel was getting put into the hearse, an ambulance comes by, and Vince McMahon is shocked. Stone Cold Steve Austin is returning from the medical facility. He gets out, he makes his way back to the ring, and he first goes after Mr. McMahon, but McMahon rolls back out of the ring again because him and Austin are still technically in the match at this time, despite the fact like being gone for quite a while. Um, but then they had Shamrock though start attacking Austin, and Austin will Shamrock, and Vince was returned to commentary as Austin was occupied, even though he was trying to get back to Vince McMahon. But then again, he was probably trying to eliminate other people that way. It could be just him and Vince in the ring at the same time. Since he saw Vince was going to sit on his rear end and get a lot of heat by saying at commentary, just begging people to eliminate Austin. He doesn't care who it is. He just wants to get the $100,000, and he wants Austin out at the match. Number 23 was Triple H. Number 24 was Val Venus, and Billy Gunn would then be eliminated by Austin. Number 25 was X-Pac. Number 26 was Mark Henry, Mr. Sexual Chocolate Mark Henry. Why did they give him that gimmick? It was just terrible. Him and Mae Young had a child, a hand. Not funny at all whatsoever. It's a shame because Mark Henry should not have been used like that. Number 27 was Jeff Jarrett, who came out to the ring with Deborah. We all know later she would marry Stone Cold Steve Austin. But yeah, once again, wrestlers come out with just girls because the crowd will more so go nuts for the lady than the wrestler himself. It's a star power solo at this time. Number 28 was D'Lo Brown, and then in between 28 and 29 we would have Austin eliminate Test, and then Big Boss would eliminate X-Pac, and then Triple H would eliminate Jeff Jarrett. Number 29 was Owen Hart. Now, I wanted to mention also, this was Owen Hart's last Royal Rumble match. And unfortunately, it's because of his death later on this year due to that accident when he propelled in. And he died. So this was the last year for Owen Hart in the World Wrestling Federation. I believe that accident happened in May. But yeah, so Owen had a decent showing in this Rumble as well. It was a shame that he just went way too young. And then also in between numbers 29 and 30, was when Austin rolled out of the ring and just took a bottle of water and just like shoved it in Vince's face, just trying to piss him off. First, we get back into the ring, but then Vince stayed put where he was at. And number 30 was a historical moment because earlier I said there was a qualifying battle royale earlier between members of the corporation and D-Generation X, and someone entered the Rumble in order to make history, and the person who won, China. So China became the first of 3 women to ever enter a Royal Rumble match, as she came in at number 30. I guess Mark Henry made some joke about like getting at her before, like earlier in the night when she won, since he is Mr. Sexual Chocolate or whatever. And China went on to eliminate Mark Henry when she got it. So awesome. But then Stone Cold Steve Austin doesn't give a crap about it at all. He would then clothesline China out of the ring as well. This would set off Triple H. Of course, he would go after Austin. But then Triple H turns attention to Val Venus, because it was weird, because people like, why didn't as much people just gang up on Austin, just all eliminate him? But there was a lot of people in this match that were still showing that they wanted to get $100,000 to themselves, so they were getting others out of the way so that the way they could eliminate Stone Cold Steve Austin. Even though also some people weren't part of the corporation as well. But Triple H would eliminate Val Venus, and then Austin was to get behind Triple H with the stunner and eliminate him. And then Austin would also then eliminate Owen Hart. So the final 4 was the Big Boss Man, D'Lo Brown, and Stone Cold Steve Austin in the ring, but Mr. McMahon was still at commentary ringside, was technically still in the match. So the Big Boss Man would eliminate D'Lo Brown, and then Stone Cold Steve Austin was almost eliminated by the Big Boss Man, but he would like sneak underneath the ropes, hit Boss Man with a stunner, and while Boss Man was still feeling the effects of a stunner, he would eliminate Austin. Austin would eliminate Boss Man. So Mr. McMahon's plan just backfired big time. So McMahon realized that it's just the two started off, was finishing it off in the ring. So Austin goes out there, pretty much just starts beating the crap out of him, and him and Vince start beating the crap out of each other, trying to get each other back into the ring. And Austin's wanting to just, relish this, just enjoy every moment after everything that Vince has done with him, showing that your plan backfired, you couldn't get me to the hospital, I am still here, I am the man around here now, and you have to face it. Unfortunately, though, the plan for Austin didn't succeed, as the current champion who won it earlier tonight, despite the fact he fooled the referee saying that Mankind said I quit, even though they had used a recording device to make it sound like Mankind quit, and they would have like a couple rematches leading to the same Valentine's Day Massacre. Whenever the Big Show had debuted, as Paul White would help The Rock get his title back from Mankind. A ladder match would lead to a match between Mankind and Big Show at WrestleMania to determine who would be the special guest referee in the main event of that show. So The Rock comes out and it starts distracting Austin, and of course, The Rock is the corporate champion, so Austin's like, telling him to come in, let's get at it. Vince though gets back up on his feet and he eliminates Austin. So Mr. McMahon wins the Royal Rumble match. Why? The next night, and here's the part that made Vince look stupid. The next night on Raw, he forfeited his title opportunities. He just wanted to take care of Austin. So he said he's going to give that title opportunity to whoever he chooses. But of course, Shawn Michaels again comes out as the commissioner and just, spits in his face and says, actually, you realize that the rule book says whoever the runner-up in a Royal Rumble match was, if he would forfeit the championship opportunity, the runner-up is whoever is in the Royal Rumble match, which is Stone Cold Steve Austin. So Vince McMahon has pretty much lost his own game there, making himself look stupid. Him and Austin would have a steel cage match, I think it was, at St. Valentine's Day Massacre again. I think that's actually when Big Show did debut. He would get involved also in a match again between Mankind and The Rock also for the championship. But yeah, again, this Rumble could have been pretty darn good. There was a lot of loopholes. It was like something, this is good, but it's like, but what about this and that? It was just all just like back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. The fact that Vince won and forfeited his title opportunity next night is just made himself look stupid, because it ended up going to Austin anyways at WrestleMania 15. So I don't know. This was a strange Royal Rumble. I enjoyed it in some ways, but in other ways, it's like this really wasn't really too much good really down the road. But before I get into my final grades, let me get to the numbers here. So entrance and times and eliminations. Stone Cold Steve Austin at number 1. 56:38 at the time, 8 eliminations. Mr. McMahon was there for the same amount of time, 1 elimination. Golga, 15 seconds, no eliminations. Droz, 12:30, no eliminations. Edge, 11:51, 1 elimination. Gilbert, 7 seconds, no eliminations. Steve Blackman, 722, no eliminations. Dan Severn, 543, no eliminations. Tiger Ali Singh, 402, one elimination. The Blue Marine, 259, no eliminations. Mabel, a minute 26, five eliminations. Road Dog, 1041, three eliminations. Gangrel, 26 seconds with no eliminations. Kurgan, 654, no eliminations. Al Snow, 47 seconds with no eliminations. Gold Dust, 4 minutes and 2 seconds with no eliminations. The Godfather, a minute 40 with no eliminations. Kane was only in there for 53 seconds, but he had 4 eliminations. Ken Shamrock, with 4 minutes and 50 seconds with no eliminations. Billy Gunn, 7:05, no eliminations. Test, 12:48, no eliminations. Big Boss Man, 18:53, 2 eliminations. Triple H, 14:21, 2 eliminations. I wish Triple H would have been his matches a little bit longer, but like in like the final 4 or something. Val Venus, 12:41, no eliminations. X-Pac, 5:44, no eliminations. Mark Henry, 7:57, no eliminations. Jeff Jarrett, 3:39, no eliminations. D'Lo Brown, 9:11, no eliminations. Owen Hart, again, his final Royal Rumble match due to his death in May, 6:31, no eliminations. And then Chyna becoming the first woman in the history of wrestling to enter a Royal Rumble match. 35 seconds, one elimination. That was on Mr. Sexual Chocolate, Mark Henry. So, again, the winner was Mr. McMahon. The longest time was Mr. McMahon and Stone Cold Steve Austin. Lasted the whole Rumble, 56 minutes and 38 seconds. And that was also the length of this Rumble. And the most eliminations were by Stone Cold Steve Austin himself with 8. So overall, Grail give for this Rumble, again, it could have been a pretty good Rumble. Unfortunately, it didn't go that way because of just, he's going back and forth a little nuts all over the place. I'm going to give this Royal Rumble a C-. Just an okay Royal Rumble. If it was a little more steady and a lot more consistent and the star power was a little better, it definitely could have been a pretty darn good Rumble. Unfortunately, it was a little all over the place, so I got to give it a C-. That is my thoughts for the 1999 Royal Rumble match. The final one of the 20th century. We get into the 21st century next, where we go into 2000. And, of course, Stone Cold Steve Austin was hurt this year, so he was not in this Rumble match. So, we'll see what happens and who gets the big nod next year as well. So what are your thoughts on this Royal Rumble? Leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. And be sure to click that like and subscribe button. We're content on this channel. Follow me on Twitter at DemandAir93. I will hopefully have the 2000 Royal Rumble review up by the end of tonight as well. That way I'll get 3 Royal Rumbles in for today. So thank you guys again for tuning in for this retro recap and review of the 1999 Royal Rumble. And until then, have a great night.